Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us here today, both in person and online as well. And as mentioned by Sean, I'm Shivani Soni, and I'm delighted to talk to you about innovating towards the resiliency, but what the role of decarbonization and digital transformation can contribute to the AEC growth agenda. And I'm hoping that it will perhaps get you to start to think about things slightly different. So first, let's get the boring stuff out the way, right? And let me provide you with a brief introduction to myself. As mentioned, I'm Shivani Soni, and I am the head of Impact and Innovation at Symmetry. And in my role, I look at ways to drive growth through innovation. And I also oversee our co-innovation practice, with co being the key word, because for us, collaboration is key and it's part of our DNA. Because we firmly believe in the power of working together. And I also have a deep passion of creating a sustainable future. And I'm dedicated to researching and implementing strategies to actually embrace decarbonization with digital transformation. So with that in mind, let's kickstart. But last thing, one of my favorite quotes is that you cannot depend on your eyes if your imagination is out of focus. We want to tackle sustainability. We want to tackle all of these key challenges. We need to start thinking about how we're going to get there. So let's start with the high level first, right? The levers to digital transformation. Typically, underneath this umbrella, we typically look at both growth and operational drivers, which is typically very highly interconnected. And it starts with leadership and the strategies that infuses every process with every process level and employees. And unless the interconnected nature across products, services, technologies, and the environment are understood, benefits are going to fall short, right? They're going to fall short of projections, and they're going to fall short of expectations as well. And generally, the consequences of this is not really understood. It's only becomes apparent when the threat is no longer avoidable. And the construction industry is going through some global disruptions, right? We've got changes to capital supply. We've got the evolving social and environmental values. And we've also got the rapid population growth. And these are all factors for us to consider. And if we think about it, right, it was touched on very lightly with other presentations earlier today as well. Recent global events have actually accelerated our way of thinking. It's changed our working patterns. It's actually promoting us to reevaluate how we go about on doing business. And these events are actually going to have a lasting contribution on the construction industry. To what degree, well, is yet to be realized. But what we can say is that these four critical areas are going to be the global trends that are driving the future of construction: operational resilience, technology adoption, lean construction, and sustainable construction. So when we think about operational resiliency, well, we're actually thinking about how to be nimble and how to adapt very swiftly to the changing environments so that our business can operate during these disruptions, right? When we think about technology, well, it's about us improving our efficiency. It's about creating opportunities, and it's about actually enhancing our competitiveness as well. And then we think about also lean construction. And lean construction is about prioritizing this respectful, relationship-orientated, management-based approach to project delivery. It's a way for us to transform design, manufacturing, and reduction. And let's face it, nobody likes to be wasteful, especially when it comes to money, right? And then lastly, in my opinion, one of the most important, is sustainability. Sustainability involves in conserving resources. It's reusing materials. It is recycling waste. It's embracing renewable energies. It's protecting nature, and it's about us creating high-quality products that are non-toxic as well. Sustainable construction actually adds value to all stakeholders. So with that being said, let's just take a little moment and think about what do we mean by sustainability. it's a very broad term, and it's a confusing topic to many as well, right? So let's maybe just break this down at a very high level of what does this mean in the construction industry. And quite simply, it's actually a combination of eliminating your operational carbon, and by that we mean it's the amount of carbon that's emitted from your energy consumption, for example, and then it's embodied carbon as well. And your embodied carbon, it relates to CO2 for emitting during your production of your products, for example. And what we should really be doing is actually looking at all of the elements from all phases of a building life cycle, starting all the way from initial concept, all the way through to reuse or demolition as well. And these strategies and goals should be some of the clearly outlined right in the beginning. We should be thinking about how will we achieve these goals? How will they be carried out throughout a project life cycle of a building? How will I define the data that I need so I can start doing the right exercise throughout the life cycle of a project as well? These should be the first questions that we actually ask, the first question before we make any decisions. As the saying goes, right? Form follows function. And to put it simply, what we're trying to do is reduction over time. We're focusing on these three key areas over here, right? CO2, H2O, and energy. And there are so many driving policies out there, so many declarations out there, so many regulations out there, but they're actually there to guide us of designing better and to achieve some of the industry goals when we talk about decarbonization, sustainability, net zero. And some of these objectives are as follows. Ultimately, it's about us addressing climate change and by reducing emissions. And the goal is for all buildings and major renovations to actually be designed to consume 90% less energy than your regional average by 2030 and carbon neutral by 2050. That's a high overarching term, and every country and region will have their phased sort of program to get there as well. But how are we going to get there? Well, in order for us to do this, we need to begin by defining the information requirements. This involves us understanding the community needs, the owner's objectives, the user, the society, who we're building for, being human-centric, right? And then when we start to understand that, we then need to start to understand, okay, what is the data necessary for us to be efficient in design, construction, and manufacturing as well, or maintenance, sorry. And we should also consider the building's afterlife. And these steps will actually help us establish the performance threshold and understand what design guidance we need to do as well. And once we understand all of these factors, we start to align with the key stakeholders that we need, and we start to gather the information that we require for each life cycle stage of a project as well. And what that does, it helps us to create that measurable pathway to success. Information is key, right? And this process is enabling us to be prepared to actually adopt sustainable analysis for informed decisions throughout a project life cycle. And when we have that foundation in place, that means it's starting to allow us to look at predictive analysis and real-time analysis for making informed decision-making. When we think about the design phase, we can leverage that data and we can harness the power to do predictive analysis for building performance analysis, for life cycle analysis, for a site performance analysis. And it helps us to shape the sustainable design decision that's going to propel us towards a greener future. Then we think about the construction phase. Well, then if we've prepared that data during the preparation phase, we can then start to leverage that data and unleash real-time analysis with cutting-edge technology. We're starting to think, how are we designing? How are we building? We actually want to minimize our carbon footprint in this as well, right? How can we leverage, if we decided how we're going to design and build, we can go, okay, I can use the robotics to actually create our modular sort of constructions. What can I start to leverage for that? What can I start to capture the data for that to ensure that we're actually building effectively, we're minimizing our carbon footprint whilst we're actually building? How do I take material from point A to B in the shortest pathway as possible? And then we have the maintenance phase as well. And if we capture this data, we're able to support the owners to optimize the building operations. It's actually unlocking the potential for sustainable maintenance practices and creating a lasting impact on our planet. In conclusion, digital transformation actually drives efficiency and cost saving throughout the design, construction, and maintenance phases. And it's enabling our owners to make impactful, resilient decisions. But all of that is only done providing we do the groundwork of preparing and understanding what data we want to do and what data we want to capture throughout the whole life cycle. Data supports us to make efficient decisions as well. In summary, what I'm trying to get at is that information is crucial, right? We talk about information management, we talk about the ISO 19650, we talk about all of that stuff. What I'm trying to get you guys to do is go, all right, we all know we need to tackle sustainability. What if we started looking at the preparation phase and go, okay, what is that sustainable information requirements that I need? And we start thinking about it from day one. We start preparing ourselves. As a mentor once told me, it's when we fail to plan, we plan to fail. And that's the same when it comes to how we're going to do our projects as well. We want to make sure that we're planning ourselves effectively, so we're strategically identifying the steps and leveraging the digital technology that would help us to make informed decision makings and utilize the data the best way as well. It's about thinking outside the box. It's so we can actually strive to understand how these strategies can positively impact our business outcomes. By doing this, you potentially could start creating new services. By doing this, you can kind of showcase that actually as a practice, you're enhancing your brand and you're showcasing the owners that actually you are a practice that actually tackles this and you're addressing it as well. And furthermore, it actually aligns the digital life cycle with sustainable objects. It does not only drive growth, but it also enhances our resiliency as well. What this progression is actually doing, it's actually unlocking the potential for sustainable growth. And it's achieving decarbonization goals at the intersection of digital transformation. Integrating digital technologies from allowing us to do energy modeling, digital twins, and smart buildings as well. And all of that is actually crucial for us to do decarbonization. It's by embracing these initiatives that we can actually accelerate our pathway towards decarbonization and for a sustainable future. It's where technology and environmental responsibility begin to align as well. And the fact is, the industry is actually facing some key challenges that actually demand our attention if we really want to do sustainable growth for ourselves. And challenge one, it is climate change and decarbonization, right? We must adopt sustainable practices and materials to reduce our carbon footprint. Challenge two, it is inefficiency and productivity. Delays in cost overruns, and it hinders the progress of our profitability by roughly about 20%. And then we have challenge three. It is the increasing competition and the evolving client expectations. Embracing new technologies and improving our collaboration is actually crucial. Historically, they say that the success of construction project has been purely measured in economic terms. However, increasingly, both environmental and social objectives are becoming more key elements in project briefs. A lot of our owners are now required to do their ESG reporting, and it's to ensure that we can support them to make sure that we can measure them and report that as well. Decarbonization and digital transformation are essential for us to tackle these challenges and achieve sustainable growth. And as we navigate through these challenges, it's actually crucial for organizations to be creative and adopt new ways of actually working. That actually aligns with the industry ESG reporting and the goals of Agenda 2030. Regardless of your position or the role of your organization within the wider ecosystem, we can all work towards finding innovative solutions and addressing these challenges. And to be honest, it's not really hard for us to understand the industry challenges when it comes to addressing carbon emissions. Building actually contributes to roughly 39% of global carbon emissions, and building materials roughly accounts for about 11%. By leveraging digital technology, and like those that we just touched on very earlier, it will allow us to effectively do, like I said, energy modeling, looking at digital twins, and looking at smart buildings as well, and make that actually a reality. And we can make a significant progress in reducing our emissions, but also building a sustainable future. You can either look at this as a challenge, or you can actually take this and look at this as an opportunity for yourself. It's time for us to actually take action and to embrace the change for the better. In fact, we as Symmetry understand that the early stages of decision-making plays a critical role in accelerating decarbonization. Hence why I'm going to emphasize again that preparation phase, it is key, it is crucial. If we start thinking about this strategically, we are going to start beginning to pave the way for the rest of the life cycle. As this graph shows that as soon as you start moving out of your strategic definition stage and your preparation and brief, you're actually losing the time to make a positive influence on your actual project. Cost is already creeping in as well. So you need to start thinking about this right from the beginning to actually start making a real change into this. You start thinking about it later, you're going to have less of an opportunity to make a change. You're going to have a less of an opportunity to actually leverage the right digital technology and the right sort of processes and strategies to actually make effective, positive outcomes from it as well. In fact, we as Symmetry have actually wholeheartedly embraced the Agenda 2030 challenge, where it's asking organizations to be creative on this. And we are developing services and solutions to support the industry so they can actually leverage and start looking at this from day one as well. We are Autodesk's #1 global partner, and we've also made an exclusive partnership with One-Click LCA as well. And through this partnership, it's helping us to develop our own tools such as Naviate Zero to address decarbonization right from the earliest stages of a project, which you're going to hear more about later. But also through our co-innovation practice, we conduct extensive research and we collaborate with our partners, with our researchers, and our organizations to actually create a sustainable and innovative solutions to help us meet the future needs of our customers and the communities that we serve as well. We know we cannot do this by ourselves. We need to work together if we're really going to make a change and we're really going to tackle sustainability and foster growth. Disruptions like the pandemic, the conflicts, Russia versus Ukraine, financial challenges, they're bound to happen, right? But to thrive, we must embrace these challenges and enhance decision-making to build in resiliency. This actually improves accuracy, reduces cost, and increases efficiency and helps us drive revenue growth as well. In the AEC industry, decarbonization involves sustainable design, renewable energies, energy-efficient technology, and the circular economy as well. From one of the sources, it actually says that the construction industry contributes 13% to the global GDP. It says that the investment infrastructure, it is roughly 116 billion euros in Ireland that is offered towards decarbonization and digital transformation. This is an opportunity for you. We need to address environmental changes. The impact is crucial, right? As the construction industry accounts for 39% of global emissions, as I said earlier. But also, when we think about digital transformation, this is actually about BIM, AI, Internet of Things, and there's many other buzzwords. Soon these buzzwords will become normality to us as well, right? So that we can bring it to reality. And it actually presents a $10.3 billion growth and efficiency opportunity by 2026. So we should jump onto the bandwagon, understand what can the digital technology do to actually support us to meet the sustainable goals and challenges that we have ahead of us. Decarbonization and digital transformation actually enables innovation, sustainability, and improves business outcomes as well. embracing these opportunities actually helps us to shape a more resilient and a more thriving future. But I'm going to say it again. Planning, it is crucial. We want to get onto the bandwagon. We can either look at all of these challenges as a pure challenge and we're going to step back from it, or we can actually look at it as an opportunity and put ourselves ahead of it. But for us to be ahead of that game, we need to think about that planning phase, and we need to think about what are we trying to achieve when we talk about sustainability as well. It's not just about us designing, but trying to understand what are the outcomes that we need to do from it, so we can figure out at each life cycle stages, what can I do to ensure that I'm going to make informed decision making, so by the time we hand it over to the owners, they're able to actually leverage their projects effectively and support the communities that we actually serve as well. And once again, we as Symmetry, we challenge people to work smarter for a better future, more sustainably. And we do that through collaboration as well. Thank you.